Well, hello, and welcome to Quarantiki with Lovecraft Cocktails, episode
29.
29. 29. Got light shining through here. Kill that. So, every year for Halloween, we try to do a haunted tiki party, and this year was no different. Well, okay, it was a lot different. We did it virtually. So we had people come by and pick up cocktails earlier in the day that we had made and pre-batched. And then we went on a live Zoom broadcast and had 30 plus people chatting with each other, which was a little zany. I mean, if you've ever been on a Zoom cast with a ton of people, you know how zany that can be. Very different sort of party atmosphere. But darn it, we did it. And this is the aftermath. So this is the aftermath show. Hi. Yeah, this is a bathrobe. Yeah, it's been one of those days. So we're gonna make some cocktails because I made 80 plus cocktails yesterday. Why not make some more today? So, not that big a deal. We'll make some cocktails. We'll have some fun. At least I hope so. But first, we have to toast. So we're going to toast. Um, I have a rum here, and we're going to pop the. We're going to open this up. So this is going to be an interesting rum. This will have some character to it. So this is produced by Habitation Verlier, the House of Single Rums, as they build themselves. And what we have here is a Jamaican pot still rum, and it is produced by Worthy Park Estate, which is not one that you find too many bottles of lying around. This does come in at a rockin' 57% alcohol, so this is going to have some character to it. Just have a little oomph to it, and we're going to do a little tasty of that.
Yum.
Got a couple glasses here. Pop this open. Oh. Yeah.
There be funk.
There be funk here. Yep. So now this is so with this amount of funk, you'd be like, oh well, okay, clearly this is going to be a dark Jamaican rum. I should have noted to you, it says right there on the bottle, white rum. Yeah, this is crystal clear white rum. This should put to rest any concept that white rums are somehow clean, neat, unaged, don't have funk to them. Yeah, that's not going to be the case here. So here's a little Forsyth from Worthy Park. Cheers.
Successful party.
To a successful party, to my partner in crime making this all happen, to having a day where we didn't have to get out of our pajamas, despite the fact we had a bunch of stuff that we had to do
pajamas!
today. But yeah, so yippee, here we go. Cheers. Cheers to all of you. Cheers to some really good friends that treated us way better than we probably deserved to. We got gifts from you guys. I'm like, what the heck? We're throwing a party for you. You don't have to bring us gifts. But they did, and they were awesome. I mean, we have new tiki mugs. We have these guys, which you can't see.
I'll show them off.
Star will show them off. Yeah, we still have the same lighting that's here from the tiki party. So yeah, everything is kind of ghostly, weird, orange and purples. So that's all kind of bizarre, which is going to throw off all sorts of colors. So what did you think of the rum? Did you taste?
That's yummy.
I know that smell, and I'm like, what is that flavor? Oh, it is definitely hot. What did I expect at 57? Oh. Now, I think some of the heat is detracting from the initial flavor burst, because what I get this wonderful sense of flavor, this really deep butterscotchy caramel flavor. That's the flavor I was thinking of, butterscotch and caramel, that comes through immediately. And then you get this alcohol burn that kind of says, and now you're not going to taste anything else. But as soon as that burn goes away, Then we get this wonderful caramel butterscotch flavor coming back in with some overripe bananas in
Yeah.
it, and certainly there's vanilla. I'm not picking up really any citrus notes from it, which
No.
is a little unusual. I would have expected some citrus notes here, but oh, that is, and there's a depth and deepness to this that is amazingly yummy. Mm. I said
Did you have your
57%.
mic on? Did you put your
I
mic on?
don't have my mic on. What the heck? Here, let me put a mic on because, let's wear some clothes today, right?
I will show off the new tiki mugs.
All right, I have a mic. Yay. Gorgeous tiki mugs. One of a set of four from Tiki Farm, dated back to about 2003. These things are great. And they're a perfect size, especially for long drinks, it's going to be great. They're not, the massively deep mugs, which I always feel kind of it's hard to actually put that much into a cocktail mug and not tell the person, look, be careful drinking this. Do not drink all of this in one sitting. Which you absolutely have to drink it all in one sitting. But man, that's going to be an awful lot of rum. The second tasting, the heat isn't nearly as pronounced. That's a little trick if you're tasting something that's got some heat to it, that's high in alcohol content. Swirl that first one around, let it burn off some of the worst aspects, and then do a second tasting of it, and more flavor notes will come through. It's almost like wow, is there like an apple to this? I get like a caramel apple flavor to this. That's really but yet it's not hyper sweet. I don't know how to get a butterscotch caramel flavor without it being sweet. I don't know how they do that, but they do. That is certainly what this reminds me of, is sort of a caramel apple, and that's some pretty yummy. It is hefty on the price tag. I don't remember how much this sucker is, but I mean, this is not a mixing rum. This is not your $25, $30 rum. It's a bit more expensive than that. We had some good news. We had the Haunted Tiki Party that went off really, really well. We had some bad news. We lost the definitive James Bond this weekend at age 90. Mr. Sean Connery passed away in his sleep, and so we're going to do a drink in his honor. And there can be only one drink in his honor, which would be a martini. However, we're going to do a martini proper, and yeah, there's a lot of smoke. I know. We are actually going to do this the proper way to do a martini, which is not shaken. We are actually going to stir this. Martini, classic martini, gin with vermouth. And so here's the problem. We need a mixing pint. Ta-da, one mixing pint. All right, so one of the problems with doing things like martinis or Manhattans, anything that requires, problem with doing any drinks that require vermouth is that usually they don't require a lot of vermouth, and usually you're not knocking back, an entire bottle of vermouth. So what do? I mean, here is a sizable bottle, 750 milliliters of Carpano Bianco. Now, I drink the occasional martini. I drink other drinks that require a blanc or a dry vermouth, but I don't drink a lot of them. So, and it's a fortified wine. So if I only drink a little bit of this, then I've got all of this oxygen in here, and the bottle will go bad relatively quickly, even if you store it in the fridge. So, as my bartender friends tell me, the trick is go ahead and buy your 750 milliliter bottles of vermouth, keep them in the refrigerator, but what you should do is once you open them, and I just opened that bottle today, and you'll note that it's empty. That's not because I'm a lush. What I did is I took a variety of different other bottles, and I filled them as far up to the top as I could and capped them, wrote Carpano Bianco on them, and stuck them all in the refrigerator. So there's almost no oxygen that is going to get to those. There's very little oxidation that can occur. Those bottles should keep for quite a while. Once I filled up all of those bottles, this was the amount that I had left, and that's going to be perfectly good for what we're going to do this evening, which is going to make a martini.
and we're going to make a stirred martini. I'm sorry, Bond. We're going to do it properly. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, there's all sorts of different proportions that one can use for martini, and that comes down to personal choice as to what the proper proportions are. 4-to-1, 6-to-1. In the past, the original martini was almost 1-to-1. So, I mean, the gamut is just about anything. I really like a 4-to-1. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go 2 ounces of, it's Bond, right? We're celebrating Bond, so we're going to use a darn good gin. We're going to use Monkey 47. We're going to use 2 full ounces of Monkey 47, because darn it, James deserved it. Okay, so this is ice cold, 2 ounces, Monkey 47. And then we are going to put this back, and we are going to go 1/2 ounce of Carpano Bianco. 1/2 ounce. And that will get us a nice 4-to-1 ratio. That goes there. Now we need to add some ice to this. Somewhere I have an ice scoop. I know I do. I have multiple ice scoops. In a pinch, this will work as an ice scoop. All right. I'll load this up with some cubed ice. Pretty much anything in terms of ice that is above the level of the liquid isn't going to do you any good. So, I mean, there's not a lot of reason to just totally load this up. Sean would probably appreciate me using my black Death's Head bar spoon for this, so that's what we're going to do. Now, while Mr. Connery was particularly known for playing Bond, there is another role that is absolutely near and dear to my heart. No, it has nothing to do with the movie Zardoz. It has everything to do with the movie Highlander. Ramirez stole the show as far as I'm concerned. Awesome character from the Highlander, made that movie. And so, yeah, so there you go. Thank you very much. The Fancy Peacock, yes, as he was referred to by Mr. Connor McLeod. So here we go. We are stirring and stirring and stirring. This requires a fair amount of dilution. Trying to keep this as quiet as possible. You don't want to be breaking up the ice. All right. Got the hand on here. That feels really pretty cold, and this is a pretty thick piece of glass here for my mixing pint, so that's probably good. Oh, that's tasty. That's going to be tasty. I have 2 small martini glasses here, and we are going to flip the ice out of them. They are nice and cold, and our little julep strainer goes here. One. And there is 2. And now you can use anything really that you want for a garnish. I mean, olives are typical. Wait, I've got another lemon lying around here somewhere that I wanted to use, but oh well, I don't see it. So we're going to go ahead and use this lemon. I like a lemon twist. Yes, that's the one that I've already done some cutting on. Ooh, maybe not. Nope. Toss that. We're going to go here. Sorry, that one's a little old, and as a consequence, the peel is kind of dried. And so we're going to just run a couple of channel knife cuts through this. Get a nice lemon twist. You're going to express that over there. Drop that in. I could do olives. I don't actually really like an olive in my martini. So here you go. These are a pair of martinis in honor of Mr. Sean Connery. So here, hun. Monkey 47, Carpano Bianco. Here's to you, Sean. crisp, yummy, hanging around with a tiki hat and a bathrobe sipping a martini. That is what the day after a big party should all be about, don't you think?
That's the life.
That is the life. That's quite tasty. I'm liking that. Just the right level of cold, and pretty much everybody I know says the only way to drink a martini is as tea-shatteringly cold as you can possibly get it. I kind of believe them. So there we go. Hey, I found my ice scoop. Woohoo, there we go. All right, so Mr. Connery, thank you very much for all that you gave us. You know, I know that there's some issues with his personal life, but as an actor and the roles he plays, I really, really, really enjoyed what you contributed. So here's to you, Sean. So the next thing that we are going to do, see, I was a little afraid that, because I know Star is not a big fan of the martini. So I was a little afraid this martini might not work for her. So I wanted to make sure.
Monkey 47.
But I wanted to make sure that there was something yummy, yummy for her. And so we're going to do what was a riff on a martini. And this cocktail is actually known as the Star. However, the Star requires sweet vermouth. And since I had already opened a brand new bottle of dry vermouth, I decided that I really didn't want to open a brand new bottle of sweet vermouth at the same time. So what we're going to do is a variation of the Star cocktail, and we're going to play around with it a little bit. And I'm going to call this My Star's cocktail because, well, she's my star, and I love her, and she made the party happy and happen, because I couldn't have done it at all by myself. Absolutely not. So we're going to go and make one of those for her. What's in the Star? All right, so the Star doesn't use gin as its base. It uses Calvados as its base, which is an apple brandy made to very specific specifications because it's out of France, and France is really into the very specific specifications, very specific rules for beverages, foods, etc., coming out of very specific regions. So Calvados comes from the Calvados region. It's apple brandy made to very tight controls. And somewhere I have my bottle of Calvados. I have a small bottle of Daron Calvados. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. We're going to be using that. Traditionally, it is equal parts Calvados and sweet vermouth. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that up, because I'm not opening a bottle of sweet vermouth. We are going to use Carpano Bianco. So we're going to use a dry vermouth, but we still need that sweetness element, and I want it to be an ode to my wonderful wife who loves all things purple. So we are going to use creme de cassis, and together this is going to get us a sort of a sweet vermouth flavor to that. Yeah, that's it, basically. We're going to do that as the Star cocktail. I want to double check. We do need just a little hint of sweetness, but that sweetness is largely going to come from the creme de cassis, which is sweeter than your average sweet vermouth. So I'm hoping that this works out fine. There are variations of the Star cocktail that use a little bit of simple syrup or some gum syrup in order to increase the mouthfeel. I'm going to try and avoid doing that because I just don't want it to edge over into too sweet. But again, this is going to be a stirred cocktail, so I need another mixing pint. There's my mixing pint. Currently, it has a blood bag in it. That's what we served the punches in for the party, which was little blood bags. So that was kind of cool. All right, so we are going to go with 1.5 ounces of Calvados. So here is 1 ounce and 1/2 ounce. Yeah, I don't always remember to do the 3/4. Sometimes I do the full ounce and then the full 1/2 ounce. All right. So this is equal portions normally of sweet vermouth to Calvados. So what we're going to do is 3/4 ounce of the Carpano Bianco. And then we're going to go 3/4 ounce of the creme de cassis. There we go. Lovely purplish color. Now I do have, I have some lychee juice that is left over from the party, from canned lychees. So these lychees in syrup. And if this is not sweet enough, which my guess is it will be, what I'll do is put a little bit of the lychee juice in there, because that'll probably be tasty. More martini. So once again, we're going to do the same thing we did previously. We're going to take some ice. This time we're going to use an ice scoop to get the ice out. Ice cubes. Unfortunately, my cubes and my crushed ice are kind of commingling here. You know, dogs and cats living together, etc. So it might be getting a little crushed ice in here, which will make the dilution factor a little different than what we might want. All right. What did I do with, here we go, this guy. So we're just going to stir the bejesus out of him. Now there is a chance that I have totally blown this drink, and that it is going to be awful, and my wife won't like it. She will at least give me credit for trying, and I can work from here and experiment around with it and try and make it a better drink. I'm going to just taste this and make sure I'm not way off here. Oh, no, that'll be fine. She's going to love this drink, actually. I think maybe a dose of bitters in here. It's a little on the sweet side, and the bitters will help. So the question then becomes, what kind of bitters? Well, we got creme de cassis. Why not use my blackberry bitters? That sounds like a plan. So we're going to set this down. We're going to reach over, grab some blackberry bitters. Those are the spice bitters. Blackberry bitters. Homemade blackberry bitters. Usually this has 1 dash of Angostura, so we're going to go 2 dashes of my blackberry bitters because mine are not quite as potent as Angostura is. They've had a few more years to perfect that capability. By the way, in case you are oogling this awfully cool cocktail spoon that I am using here, you can get one of these online. Or, when things open up back again, you can hop down to latitude 29 in the French Quarter in New Orleans and pick them up yourself, because that's where I got mine. Beach Bum Berry's own. And it's very cool. It's very nicely balanced. It's weighted fine. It's black, which is cool. And the skull actually has 2 little red, I mean, they're supposed to be garnets or something. I guess they're probably plastic because, well, I didn't pay for garnets. All right, so here we go. We have the Star cocktail. We need glasses for this. I'm going to pull out one of our tentacle bottom martini glasses, and we're going to do that. All right, in this goes. Oh, I could have double strained this. That probably would have been better. Keep the ice chips out. That looks pretty delightful. My dear, here is the My Star cocktail. Uh-oh. She's not saying anything. I could have blown it. Guys, you know the thing. When they go silent, it's dangerous.
It's like grape Kool-Aid punch.
Is that a good thing?
I think so.
Okay. All right, so there you have it. Calvados, a blanc or dry vermouth, in this case Carpano Bianco, and creme de cassis. Throw a little bitters in there, and there you have a My Star cocktail, a riff off of the Star cocktail, because yeah, it's pretty awesome. There you go. So now she has her little cocktail. I'm still drinking my bit of the Ode to James Bond cocktail. So crisp. Oh yeah, that's just really nice. I hesitate to think what drinking the Worthy Park rum is going to do to my palate after having that martini. Probably really awful things. Um, wow. Okay, so one of the nice things about the party, having a party, is that throughout the year I cut up pineapples, we core them, we juice them, we use them for making drinks that require fresh pineapple juice. And that's great. But after I've cored them, they go in the freezer, and then I use them for the tiki parties that I throw as drinking vessels. Sadly, if I don't have people here that I'm making cocktails for, it's really hard to give them, these half pineapples as drinking vessels. So I have a freezer full of these pineapples, and so we're going to use a couple. We obviously have some fresh pineapples that we used for the party to get some pineapple juice, and so those are going to go in the freezer, and some of the older ones are going to come out.
So I got a flat of pineapple.
Yeah, my wife did get a flat of pineapples, which really isn't all that. I mean, it's 6 pineapples. That's a lot of pineapples. So the first 3 gave us one of these containers filled with pineapple juice, which we mostly used, and then the second 3 gave us this container full of pineapple juice.
And the pineapple.
Oh, that's right. There is a pineapple sitting in our oven upstairs that is roasting, basted in some of the homemade spice syrup. Because, yeah, that's going to be tasty. We've had dinner this evening. Now we need dessert, right? It's dinner, cocktails, dessert. Is that how that occurs, or is it dinner, cocktails, dessert, cocktails?
Yes.
Okay. Star says yes. Embrace the power of and. The other thing that you can do, particularly around this time, is to use them to make jack-o'-lanterns. And rather than use a pumpkin, you can use the pineapple itself. And if you just stick a light in there, so I happen to have these little lights, stick those in there. Maybe this will be a little easier to see. Yeah, so here's my Cyclops. Dun, dun, dun. Woo! Yep. So there's the Cyclops. These guys were sitting out yesterday during the party. As you were walking up getting drinks, you could see them. We'll stick this guy in here. We have another one. There's the eyebrows. Arr. Yep. Yes, these guys do change color. Other cool things you can do, if you happen to have some dry ice, you can pop some dry ice in here, and then just, it's like smoke comes pouring out of their face, which is very, very cool. If my wife so wishes, she could go into the back freezer, the chest freezer, and see if there's any dry ice left. I don't know if it has survived this long. If so, it is going to be the thing that is wrapped in paper towel and in plastic in the back. And we can play around with a little dry ice in our pineapple skulls. Here is the last of the pineapple skulls. Stick the light in here. Right. Here we go. Yeah, see, isn't he cool? And of course, you've got the smoke from the incense swirling around him, so that's pretty awesome, right? Very cool. Anyway, so that's a thing that you can do with your little husks. Of course, this is a perfect way to use the husks that you have cored and actually gone through the wall of the pineapple on, because you don't actually want to be using those to serve cocktails, because that's, well, messy. See, now he's bubbling out the bottom. Poof, 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 poof. All right, so that's fun and games that you can do. A little bit of dry ice, some water. Hey, that's cold, like it's supposed to be. One thing, when playing around with dry ice and drinks, it can make for some very, very nice effects, but you do not want to serve drinks that have dry ice in them. Why is that? Well, dry ice can be very, very damaging if ingested, potentially even killing people, and well, we really don't want to do that to our friends and neighbors. Most of our friends and neighbors. All of our friends, some of our neighbors, something along those lines. All right, so there you go. This dry ice has seen better days because it's barely foaming out of the jigger. So anyway, We have one more cocktail that we're going to do for you this evening. And am I going to talk about the party? Wow, the party was a lot of work. I have, as some of you will know that we're at the party, I have never dosed out 45 dashes of bitters into anything in my life. And one of the cocktails required like 3 dashes of bitters in it. And we made 16 of those cocktails. Some people thought we only made 8, but we actually made 16 because what we sent you was actually 2 doses worth of that cocktail. So 48 dashes of bitters. That just seems like an obnoxious amount of bitters, and let me tell you, it was. The devastation around here is kind of amazing in terms of the number of empty bottles that are lying around. Our dry gin supply has been definitely cut down significantly. Oh, what do we have here? So this is, oh, you shook it.
I did.
Oh, okay. So this is an example of what we gave out. So this is 2 servings of a cocktail that I call Rising from the Grave. Rising from the Grave is, and it is misspelled, Ryesing, because essentially what it is a Mai Tai that is made with a rye. You saw me playing around with this on an earlier show trying to get that right. It came out really quite nice, very nice in fact.
Yeah.
Got a lot of compliments on that one. See, look, the dry ice is just sitting there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're dead on the dry ice. So the trick was, here we send this to you. It's got all the ingredients already mixed up. Keep it refrigerated. When it's time to serve this, in most cases, it was just shake it over ice or stick it in a blender with some crushed ice and blend the bejesus out of it, and then pour it into the mug of your choice. Now, the Rising from the Grave, because of the various components in it, including especially the orgeat, separated over time. And now that it's been shaken, you can't tell, but there was this weird,
You set it aside
almost
by the end.
almost gelatinous mass that got created inside it, which was really disgusting looking. And that is, well, exactly the kind of thing that I was going for a Halloween cocktail. So it should be tasty, it should be yummy,
Yeah.
and it should look really bizarre and kind of awful at some point.
So what we did is we published the menu, limited to 6 drinks.
Yeah, 6 drinks. I think it was 6 drinks overall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep,
Yeah.
6 drinks.
To the people that were local and could do the pickups, we put together
Gift bags.
gift bags. So I took little gift bags. I did some rubber stamping on them. I put their name and their order on it. Then we stuffed it with a tiki cocktail napkin and a swizzle stick and a glass straw from Surfside Sips.
Which, if you would like one of those glass straws, you too can get glass straws from Surfside Sips at surfsidesips.com. And if you would like 20% more straws, well, you can do that because there's a 20% off coupon, essentially,
Yeah.
gift code. If you just type in under the code Lovecraft, Lovecraft, all caps,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And that gets you 20% off your order. Or, you just pay them what the original price was and
Yeah.
get 20% more.
Yeah.
So that's how that works,
Right.
right?
And so there was also instructions and the ingredients for all the different drinks. People wanted to make their own. One of our pins. Then they got their cocktail. They got a punch, which we did in these little blood bank
Bags,
bags.
right? Yep. IV bags, blood
Amazon.
bags, right?
Amazon novelty drink bags.
Food safe.
Yeah.
Yep. They're probably not like IV safe. I wouldn't like actually try and dose somebody out of one of these,
No,
but
no.
yeah.
Then they got a garnish kit, which had some mint and some.
By the way,
green
our
orchids.
punch was not clear. It was
Yeah.
more of a brownish, almost coppery, like old blood kind
Yeah,
of color. Yeah. So
and a lime husk, and
let people garnish as they will, and we saw some
Yeah.
interesting garnishes, and saw some garnishes the next day of like
Uh-huh.
empty glasses with a skull in the middle. Hi, Kaylin, looking at you. With our cocktail orchids in the bottom of the glasses,
Yeah.
saying the morning after, which
Yeah.
that was kind of cool to see, to wake
Some
up and see
people
that.
got special stuff. Dan and Zach both got a rum sample.
Right,
Uh,
right.
Kristen, who's often on Lovecraft their Facebook, and has commented about the incense, got a stick of incense.
We gave out some Bowls Genevieve because I have a way too big bottle of Bowls Genevieve, and I still struggle to find a cocktail that I really like the Bowls Genevieve in. Huey tells me that he has made a couple, and I'm going to have him make a couple for me so that I can try. But yeah, I still have way too much Bowls Genevieve for me to be happy about. So giving
Yeah.
out some of that.
So I got up early and did the juicing. We had a window between 1 and 5 that people could come pick up their drinks, take their kids home. And then we had a Zoom at 8. And it was a lot of fun. It
we
went
went
better
till
than,
midnight.
we went till midnight, yeah.
Yeah, so 4 hours.
And we decorated down here. We gave people a tour.
It's a little bizarre because again, like parties tend to break up into groups of like 5 or 6 people and have little chats, and that's just like really not easy to do when you have 30 people on the chat on the Zoom. So I mean, it was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it. There was some sound issues because, of course, Star and I were both using different devices because she was at the table and I was behind the bar as usual. But I think it all worked out. People seemed to have a good time.
Yeah. Couple of things about setting up. I did shopping at the Restaurant Depot, thus the flat of pineapples, because it's open to the public.
And the
currently.
cocktail orchids, yeah.
And the cocktail orchids and the lemons and limes, and 5-pound bags for $5 for a 5-pound bag, which is a great price. It's open to the public during COVID because they don't have a whole lot of restaurants.
I'll reach past you here.
And and we got mint. We got a pound of mint.
A pound of mint. Pound of mint. This is all we have left of the pound of mint. Okay, that's not true. We have some scattered leaves.
Right.
But pound of mint that was sitting out in bags and that sort of thing over the course of the day got pretty wilted and nasty. And today I cut off the bottoms of the stems, stuck them in some ice water, and I gotta say, this looks pretty healthy to me in terms of mint. I would not be at all ashamed to shove these mint sprigs into cocktails. And had I gotten off my butt today, I would have come up with cocktails that really require mint sprigs in them so that I could use up a little more of this. But I didn't, so we're not going to.
The other useful thing is we did a spreadsheet with the drink and what the ingredients were and the amounts.
Right.
And then set it up with the number of drinks and then doubled it. So that I knew how many limes to juice and I knew, in advance how much of each rum we needed. So we had to make a booze run last Wednesday.
Yeah. We did our punches, and I don't know where the Montenegro bottles are again.
Oh.
They're around. So every year for the party, for the tiki parties, I make up a punch, just a straightforward punch using the mnemonic, 1 sour, 2 sweet, 3 strong, 4 weak is my motto. And I usually, to a default, almost always, I use a tea that I particularly like called Russian Caravan, which has a really smoky oolong flavor to it as the weak ingredient in that punch. And this time was no different. Now, usually I make a single batch of the punch, which centers around essentially 750 milliliters thereabouts, a full bottle of rum equivalent. And we usually have punch left over. For days, we have punch left over. Well,
Often handing it out to adults.
Yeah, often we will hand it out to the adults at Halloween, although the party took place after Halloween this time, so that couldn't work. But that turned out to be for the best because I made a double batch of the punch this year, which meant I was pouring between 2 of these guys because I couldn't shake enough, and I had to just roll back and forth between these guys, that was pretty impressive. I made a double batch, and we still ran out of punch. So, you know, that's darn impressive. I made a lot of punch, and a lot of cocktails, and it was a lot of fun. It was a little frantic when we realized how short the time span we had to get all these cocktails out. When it, you know, hit 12:45 and we were still batching stuff, it was like ah. But we got it out. People got their cocktails. Last cocktail, we are actually, as you'll note, the first two cocktails are not in any way tiki-fied. They are not tiki cocktails. They are not. Um, they're spirit forward. They're not what you would consider the usual balance of sweet and sour and funk all rolled into a tiki cocktail. Right. So we did get something else. Our dear friends Ann and Dan, um, when they picked up their cocktails from us, they left us with a gift. Look at this. So we have a, right, make sure I'm not putting this in the incense because I don't want to burn it. So this is a Lovecraft Cocktails bar towel. So that's pretty freaking cool. Hand hand stitched, I don't know, embroidered. It's pretty awesome. I don't know how she does this. This is magic to me, and probably should remain that way. But it's just so cool. I now have a Lovecraft Cocktails hand towel. That's awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, all of you. Uh, you make all of the work in putting these cocktails and these parties together so worth it. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So there's a cocktail out there called the Hurricane Buster. I don't know what drove me to this other than I already had my bottle of Calvados out, and this cocktail requires Calvados. So we're going to make a Hurricane Buster, but again, I can't leave well enough alone, so I'm going to play around with it, and I will make a Hurricane Buster that is slightly different. And we're going to do this in honor of the fact that apparently we have tied the record for most number of tropical storms in a season. 28 something? No, it's got to be more. No, I think it is 28 storms. We just have Eta. Eta is forming in the Caribbean as we speak. So yeah, so to commemorate that milestone, we're going to do a variation of the Hurricane Buster. So the Hurricane Buster has lime juice in it. It has orange curacao. So we've got some orange curacao here. It has Calvados, obviously, which I already mentioned the Calvados over here. It has some gold Puerto Rican rum, and we're going to use the Angostura 1919 for this, which is not actually a Puerto Rican rum, but has pretty much all the same characteristics that I want from a rum for this drink. And I'm going to have my wife get it for me because I failed to get it earlier. It's the Angostura 1919, which is behind the Penny Blue bottle, way up at the top. Right, and then the Hurricane Buster cocktail actually requires guava juice, and we're going to go a little off book and not use the guava juice. We're going to do some pineapple juice, and then we're going to kick that up with a little guava soda, because that just sounds really refreshing to me. And here's the Angostura 1919. It's going to go in that. All right, so this is a shaken cocktail. So we're going to start with our little mixer tin right here, or mixer plastic. And we're just going to start from the top, which is the 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. Wow, I am, whew. You know, I've gone from putting in ingredients by the cup and that sort of thing, you know, 4-cup measuring cups, using those for ingredients, back to my jiggers, and now I'm just all thrown. I don't know what to do. Okay, so there's 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice. You know what? Let's not do that. Let's make a double. Let's do that. Let's go with another 3/4 of an ounce. Because darn it, I got 2 pineapple husks here, and I want one as well. And there's a risk that I won't get one because it's got pineapple juice in it, and Star loves pineapple juice. Okay, so what did I say? That's an ounce and a half, because we're making a double, so that's an ounce and a half of lime juice, and it is a full ounce of dry curacao. The Calvados is normally 3/4 of an ounce, so we're going to go an ounce and a half of the Calvados. I am still kind of stunned at how well the blackberry and apple worked together in my star. That was a really nice flavor pairing.
You also made.
I think I want to play with that a little bit. There's a couple of things that I think could make it a little better, but man, that's a pretty darn good start on a cocktail there.
You also made the ginger mullet.
Oh, true. We did have a couple of people yesterday that, for one reason or another, either couldn't or didn't want to drink an alcoholic beverage, and so I made a drink based off of the mule, the Moscow Mule, but of course not having any alcohol in it. And so mule looks a lot like mullet in my book, so I went with mullet because mullet is a pretty freaking scary thing. And because it came out this reddish color, because I had some grenadine in it, and there was apple in it, I just called it the ginger mullet because a red-headed mullet is pretty freaking scary. And apparently it was quite tasty. So yay, yay! All right, the Puerto Rican rum, or in this case the Angostura 1919, is 1.5 ounces in the original drink, which means we need 3 total ounces. So we are going to go. I'm pretty sure I did, but you know, I get to talking and you forget. Bartenders that can carry on a conversation with multiple patrons and be putting together multiple drinks at the same time and not mess up, that, my friends, that is multitasking. That is impressive. I can't do that. I can barely talk and mix at the same time, and I'm holding a conversation primarily with myself. So, you know, so I don't have to worry about people answering.
Oh, you did have the experience of making one of your favorite bartenders.
Oh, Star does want me to mention that one of the highlights last night was the realization, or yesterday, was the realization that I was, for the first time, making a cocktail for one of my professional bartender friends. And I got to say that I was a little stressed. You know, the first time I make a cocktail for this person, I want it to be fresh, right there. I make it, hand it to you. And instead, I'm putting it in a jar, sending them home with it, and going, I hope it holds up. Apparently it did. 2 ounces, and we're going to go pineapple juice. I know pineapple and guava are completely different things, but trust me on this. I think this is going to work. So we need 4 ounces of pineapple juice, because it's a double. I would not do this with canned pineapple, though. Canned pineapple will be a little flat. And I think the fresh pineapple is going to be what makes this a possible substitute. And we're not going away from the guava entirely. There's going to be the guava soda in here as well. All right, so that goes over here. We're going to throw some ice in here, and then we're going to shake that up. It requires crushed ice because you want to get some dilution on that. I've got ice sticking to my scoop. So that's going to go in there. Wow, nice and full. I'm going to throw in a couple of agitator cubes, so larger cubes. Done, all full up. All right. Then we're going to lid this and shake it. This will be fun. This is way more liquid than I usually have in here. So here we go. All right. That smells pretty darn yummy. We need glasses for this. We are going to use the pineapples. That's what I mean by glasses. Here we go. We've got 2 pineapple husks here. They're slowly defrosting a little bit, so they're not as rigid as they were. When you use a pineapple core, it often leaves, it leaves a core sitting right in the middle, like that. See? Ta-da! You can either take that out using a knife, scissors, something along those lines to get that out and have a clean cup like that. Or you can leave it in there, and then that serves as a perfectly reasonable thing to do garnishes with. So if you have like a metal garnish, you can just stick it in there. This is obviously way too tall, But like party umbrellas, that sort of thing, which I know I have lying around here somewhere. Left of the sink. Woohoo! Hold on. Going off screen. Umbrellas. Party umbrellas. Cocktail umbrellas, right? So what's going to happen is you can use that as a little island and pull out your little umbrella, right? And then this can go right on that island, whereas otherwise you're trying to stick that into like the bottom of the mug or something along those lines, and that's kind of bad. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pour some in here. We're going to pour some in here. Right. And then we're going to get our guava. Oh, did I just shake the guava soda? I did. Oh, but not too badly, evidently, because I did not get it all over the place. Yay! So this is going to add some freshness, some carbonation, and that guava flavor that we really like that makes this cocktail. So that's going to go in there. And we're going to do the same on this side. And then we're going to test this. Wow, my bar is just not set up the way I want it anymore. Here's my straw. Tasting straw. Stick that in here. Give this a taste. Wow, come on. Oh yeah. That'll work. I am so okay with that as a cocktail. So we're going to stick the umbrella in here, off at a jaunty little angle there.
You can put your mermaid on your island.
Put a little mermaid sitting there on the island. Probably not face down. I mean, I know it's after the party and all, but there we go. She'll be sitting face up like that. You need a straw in that.
Yeah.
There's straws over there. So anybody have a drink in hand? I hope you do. Because you know what time it is. It's time to spank some mint. Because, you know, what tropical drink in a pineapple without some mint? I mean, or I don't know what you do. So here, we're just going to stick the mint in there like that. If I had a pineapple or some, wow, there we go. If I had some pineapple fronds, I could just pull some pineapple fronds and stick those in and use those as garnishes as well. Yeah, so we're just gonna pull those out, stick a couple of these in here. This will go to Star, that's hers. I'll do the same here. These guys go in. I'm gonna grab some more mint. And I'm gonna grab some of the older mint that's over here. I'll mix up the, wow, there you go. Put that in there. So there, the mint has been spanked, the drink has been made, pineapple fronds are intact. You could easily float like a lime husk half in there if you want, and we have them. I just don't have them spread out right now and ready to go. And I can just stick this in the side like such. And there you go. There we have a nice frosty beverage served in a pineapple half. And it's all frozen. And, no, it's not frozen, but it's frothy. Frothy is the word I was looking for. And hun, there's a little more left in this mixing tin if you would like that. So there you go. So I'm not sure what to call this because it's not really a hurricane buster. It's something else.
Yummy.
It's yummy. Star calls it the hurricane yummy. Okay, so that would work. But aloha. I'm not sure. Don't know if I've told this story or not before, but we had a friend over who was doing a house concert, and just in time for the house concert, Hurricane Sandy came pouring through the eastern seaboard. And so she was stuck in the area and doing a house concert for us. And well, I took that as an opportunity to make cocktails. And I thought making a hurricane would be an appropriate cocktail since we had Hurricane Sandy coming through. Now, the Hurricane is traditionally topped with some sherry, and I did not have any sherry. Um, but what I did have is some port. And the port that I had was Sandeman's port, and I thought Sandeman's port, Sandy Hurricane, that all works. That's a nice play. That's a nice pun. So we'll go with that. And by all accounts, those were some pretty tasty hurricanes. So those are the Sandy Hurricanes or Hurricane Sandies, and those were tasty. So there you go. This is the aftermath party of the aftermath of the party. This is the party that is the aftermath of the party. I don't know what it is. Um, Look, I didn't even get out of my bathrobe today, so have a fun day. Hopefully your Sunday was good. Get out there, vote, because voting's important. Tuesday is coming up. Um, I don't know what else to tell you. If you've enjoyed this, if you are enjoying either the live broadcast or you're seeing this at some future time, doing the time travel-y thing, and this was enjoyable to you, please go ahead and give the Facebook page, Lovecraft Cocktails, a like. Drop me an instant message or a DM or something along those lines. I'll try and get back to you. Put something in the comments and let me know what you liked and what you didn't like. Clearly, there was something to be missed with the initial sound, but we'll try and make sure that we get that ironed out in the future. Not sure what's going on with that. So I don't know if you can tell. There's a little coagulation here. Star can hold that up. You might be able to see. Yes, it's just beginning to coagulate. It kind of looks like it's curdling. If you stick milk in with some acid, yeah, it curdles and it's you can actually make a milk punch that way, that's how milk punches are made, which is very cool. Um, but that is not what's going on here. But it looks kind of creepy and pretty awesome, and so that worked out really, really nicely. And it means I have two more batches of the Rising from the Grave at some point in the future, probably tomorrow night. I'm certainly not going to do it tonight. I've got this great big pineapple sitting in front of me that I have to drink. So that's it. Thank you very much for tuning into the Aftermath Party from our Haunted Tiki Party. And we will talk to you people later, hopefully next week. And adios.
So, starting with the knife, this is my setup for juicing. I've got my limes down here. I roll them on the board. I cut them in half with my nice big knife. I juice them in the juicer, which is off kilter now because this is my Power Horse Cuisinart. I got a new strainer, nice strainer. I strain it into the first one. I then put this strainer on here, strain it into that. Then I do a fine strain into the container. Here's all the lime husks for the first round. So that's it. So you ask, how do you get the limes so clean for garnishes? So the first step is to turn it inside out. I always do that as first step because about half of them split or develop a crack or something. So those are just trash. Good for your garbage disposal. So now your lime's inside out and you've got all this pulp. I have to have my gloves off for this part because, well, I need my nails. So you see that, and then we just pull that off. And then we wash it up and then we turn it back right side up and you've got a cleaned out lime.